So one of the great things about modern digital photography is just how much you can adjust an image after you've taken it. Whether it be with your smartphone or a professional DSLR, there's a lot of things that you can do. I'm talking here about the exposure and the contrast and things like that, not going in and doing the retouching that can sometimes be a little bit controversial. But you might have an image where the sky appears very bright and you might be surprised that actually you can change the exposure on it a bit and actually get more detail out of the sky. Quite often I find that if I've got a picture and there's a dark area, I can brighten it up and actually find detail there in the shadows. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I've got an image here in Lightroom that I'm going to use, and also one from a smartphone, my iPhone, that I took. Not necessarily the best images in the world, but ones that demonstrate what I want to show you. So I'm just going to go to an image that I took here at St. Paul's Cathedral. I'm just going to click on develop at the top here. And one thing I want to point out is that this is a lot easier to do and you get better results if you're using raw images. But it does work as well if you've taken pictures using your JPEG. So don't be put off by people saying to you, it can't be done, it's got to be a raw image. And when I show you the one from the iPhone, that's a JPEG and you'll see that it does work. But as I said, you can get better results by using RAW. So just look for the setting on your camera. A lot of cameras now allow you to take raw photos. The difference is the JPEG is all compressed up so that the picture is smaller, and the RAW contains all that raw data that you had there. So here is the image, and you can see that it's got this bit in the middle here which is nicely exposed and bits around the edge that are darker. And I can see that if I just increase my exposure, there's a lot of detail over here that I might want to get, but it's brightened up that bit in the middle. So what I want to do is brighten these areas without affecting this. So I'm just going to reset my exposure by double clicking there. And I just double clicked on that little adjustment thing there, like a little triangle. So if I just double click, it takes it back. So how do I just do these areas? Well, I use the adjustment brush, which is over here on the panel on the side. And when I click on it, you'll see that when I move the mouse over now, I get these two circles. So what they do is the circle here in the middle is the bit that's doing the brightening, and the outside is showing you the feathering of it. That's where it sort of falls off and becomes a bit softer. So if you want a nice soft edge as you're brushing, you might want to do that. And you can adjust that by going down to the panel here and adjusting the size. You can see it's increasing the size of it, and you'll see the feather one allows me to adjust it like that. So another way you can do that is by using the square brackets. Square brackets decreases both of them. And by using the shift key in the square brackets, you can see it changing the feather size as well. So how much exposure do I want to change? I don't know. So I'm just going to increase it. Sometimes I increase it a lot because I'm going to change it afterwards when I can see what it's done. So I just basically start painting with the brush over here. Sometimes you don't have to be too exact. I'm going to go right down into the corner, and actually I've realized I don't want it all down in the corner here, so I'm going to press the Alt key. You see it becomes a negative sign there, and I just start brushing it. It starts taking away that bit that I painted, so you can easily do that. So let's get rid of that. So if you kind of go over the lines, you can always use the Alt key to go backwards. So I can now just increase and decrease the exposure on that. Maybe somewhere around about there. You can adjust the contrast as well. You might be able to push up the saturation, could look interesting. And you'll see what happens is when I float my mouse over that little circle there, see that circle there with the black dot? That's where I first started painting, so with the adjustment brush. So if I move the mouse and just leave it there, it's showing me, it's highlighting everywhere that I've painted, and I can kind of see down here there's probably a bit that I might need to get rid of. I want to brighten up here as well, so I can just continue on over here and I can brighten that up. And you know what? Maybe the whole thing's just a bit too bright, so let's just pull it down. Sometimes it's just a little bit that you need. This column here might be a bit too bright. You might have something like this if you've got a sky that's too bright. But I need a different brush for that. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to click on New in the panel on the right hand side, and let's just make that smaller. So I'm just using the square brackets. Wrong one, that's just too bright. Well, not wrong one, wrong setting. So let me just make that darker. I'm going to adjust it a bit better in a moment, but just paint over that. I might just paint over this one on the side here. And probably just a bit too dark. As I said, sometimes it's just a tiny setting change that makes all the difference. And again, if I float my mouse over here, you'll see it highlights that. If I float the mouse over here, it highlights the bits that have been done. So if I want to change this one after I've done that, I can just simply click on it. If I come out of the brushes by clicking on that brushes icon there, and then I click on it again, I see my two little circles and I can choose them again, and I can choose what I want to do with them. If I don't like what I've done, I can click on one of them, like that one, and press backspace or delete, and it's gone. And I can just do that bit again, or not do it at all. I can see what it's doing with and without the brush. If I scroll to the bottom of that panel, there's a little switch here. So you can switch on and off, which you can do as you go, which can be very useful to see the effect. Because sometimes the effect is so subtle, you don't see it until you switch it on and off. So I'm just switching off the panel for the adjustment brushes there for the moment. And I want to show you one that I did earlier, or rather I copied a crossover earlier from an iPhone. So here it is, and let's just go to the develop module. And what I want to do here is brighten up this section down here. No particular reason except to demonstrate to you that there might be something there. And again, if I was just to push up the exposure, you can see that it's there. Once again, I'm going to double click on that triangle. It's going to move it back. Let's click on the adjustment brush. Now this is a JPEG, the previous one was a RAW file. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah, look at that, not too bad, huh? So that's particularly good. There you go. Don't want to brighten anything else up there. I might want to add a new one and just see whether or not maybe I can get anything out of the sky by making it darker. I don't think there's anything there. This is one occasion where you might find, well, not just one occasion, but where the RAW file might hold more information in there. So shooting RAW can be useful. There are apps on the iPhone and also on other smartphones that allow you to shoot RAW as well. RAW takes up a lot more space. When I shoot with my camera, it can be around about 24 megabytes per picture. So that's quite a lot compared to, say, maybe 2 megabytes. So I'm using possibly, and this isn't a rule of thumb, but in my case I've seen it's kind of using 10 times the size. So you might want to sometimes think, do you really need to shoot RAW? As I said, a lot of bridge cameras, DSLRs now allow you to shoot with RAW as well. So if you're really getting into it, you might just want to try it out and see what it does. But you can see here that the JPEG is actually also capable of it. So, but if you're really getting into it and it's important, then you do need to shoot RAW. If you're professional, you do need to shoot RAW for things like this. However, maybe if you're doing sports and you've just got thousands of pictures where you don't have time to go and edit them afterwards, you'd probably shoot JPEG anyway. A lot of cameras now allow you to shoot JPEG and RAW. So afterwards, if you decide actually you just don't want all those RAW images, or maybe just a few, you could delete them and keep the JPEG there as well. So that's how you can brighten up certain parts of an image and actually get detail that was hidden away in your photograph.